And okay. Okay. So what I'd like to do, a couple of things. It helps if you have like a broom or a 2x4 or something. Okay, so you get a sense of angles and width. Okay. Now everybody's stance is in proportion to their physical body. Okay, but a couple of things. We're going to start out with it's called the bow posture. Okay, and we start out with feet about a shoulder width apart. Okay, and bend the knees. Now here is an area right about here where I can't go any lower without sticking my butt out or leaning back. Okay, now what I'm going to do is turn out my left foot, shift the weight here. And my right foot is going to take, I'm going to extend it naturally, heel, toe. We don't reach. Okay, once you get here, you extend the leg out, heel touches, toe touches. Knee covers toe, back foot, toe comes into support. Front foot is straight, okay? Master Choi called it 90 degrees. And the back foot is about 45 degrees. Okay, off of that straight. Knee covers toe. If you check with your, you have shoulder width back foot, okay? And so that's an important one. That's going to be repeated on the left side. So I do the same thing, I bend the knees. If I'm too high, the legs are kind of stiff. Okay, so sink your center. Now the right, now the left is going to go straight, heel toe, not exaggerated. Okay, keeping the weight down here, heel toe, back foot, toe turns in. Same thing, knee covers toe, over, off balance, back. I'm standing up too high, so just about here. Okay, shoulder width. Okay, it's important to get the alignment. In other words, if your knee is going one way and your toe is going the other way, then you're straightening the body. Okay, so that's a straight ahead or 90-degree step. And another variation of the bow stance. Same thing. Again, I'm down here. To go any lower, I gotta lean forward or lean back. I stay straight. I turn out the left. This time, we have that straight ahead step. We're gonna take 30 degrees past the heel toe. Okay, back foot is going to turn in to support that. This is 30 degrees, so the back foot is 45 degrees off of that, okay? Knee covers toe. And you see the shoulder width back there, okay? And take a second or two. Relax the legs. This time, we're going to turn the right foot out. Keep the weight down. And I'm going to step 30 degrees past the straight ahead or 90-degree step. Knee covers toe, back foot turns toe in. Your nose, navel, face. The direction of knee and toe. Okay? And knee covers toe. And you have that shoulder width. Okay? So that's variations on the bow posture. Now, the straight ahead. Review. Back foot turns toe in. Now, nose and navel can face the corner, 45. Can also face straight ahead or be aligned to the front knee. Just the forward step. Okay. Foot turns toe in. 45 degrees, straight ahead, aligning to the knee, nose and navel, okay? And we go back to turning out the left, 30 degrees past that, heel toe. Back foot turns toe in. Now here, we rotate so nose and navel face the same degree as the rear foot, knee and toe. Forward knee. So going back and forth, keeping the weight down. Or conversely, going straight back, straight forward, straight back, and straight forward. And again, checking. See, you have that shoulder width back there. Okay, and repeating on the other side. Just taking a second to relax the legs. Tai Chi, for example, we're focusing and kind of being more static on that. But Tai Chi, you're constantly shifting the weight. So the legs don't get strained, okay? But it is important to practice, or at least go over periodically the stances. This time, the right leg turns out. One step 30 degrees past straight ahead, heel toe. Knee covers toe, back foot. Toe turns in. And we have that shoulder width back there. You can rotate, keeping the knees bent. Or conversely, go straight back, straight forward. Okay? Now, off of the bow posture, put this over here for a second. We have what's called the retreat step, as in Repulse the monkey. Okay, so from here, let's just say I go bow posture here, turn the toe, and that would shift the weight back, and bring the foot in to keep the weight down, toe heel going back. And as you shift the weight back, turn the foot in, front foot straight ahead now, toe heel, toe in aligning. If you leave the foot there, there's a little strain in the leg, so make sure that toe is there. Yeah. Okay. It's important to hear it's a tendency to kind of walk backwards and cross the feet. Well, toe heel. There's a shoulder width toe heel between the feet for the retreat step. Okay. So those are, we have the forward step, the bow stance, and we also have the retreat step. And we also have the Dingbo posture, which to some degree is very much like the cat stance. Heels touch, toes go out 45-degree angles. Again, same thing, lower. You know, if I go any lower, I'm going to stick my butt out. But if I stay too high, balance is not stable. Okay? And then I'm going to put the left foot out. So 90% back, 10% on the forward foot, the distance between knee and toe. thumb to ring finger, toe. Make sure the toe isn't twisted out. Just straight. Distance between the knees. Heel. Heel not too high. The toe is about an inch off the ground. Okay, the weight is again 10% forward, 90% back. Okay, that's the Dingbo posture. So those go through the basic stances or steps. Okay, let me just check in. And, okay, are there any questions on any of the steps or stances? If you came in late, we'll post this, but then again, you can ask. We can review something or go into more detail. Anybody? Okay. And so we've covered the stances. Exercises that Master Choi used to do, he called them the I Ken King exercises. They're kind of movement with breath. They're not really Tai Chi, but they're also kind of good to do as a warm-up. So standing heels together. Okay, you can stand also just shoulder width apart. Taking the hands, the breath is in and out through the nose. So we're breathing in and out, in and out. And repeat 3 more times. And hands up, in and out, in and out, and again 3 more times. Okay, and the last one is a bit more complex. So what you do, now the breathing, just to kind of review, is what Master Choi called Tan Tien breathing, the 0.2 inches below the navel and in. Although he just called it baby breathing also. It's how a young infant breathes. Very natural. As we get older, we start to breathe up here and out there. Okay. And the last one, the Tai Chi Fist is a relaxed fist, not a clenched fist. Okay, we don't leave thumb out there, it's in, not clenched. Here, if I go this way, it's kind of a dead fist. So you're bringing the hands in, but you're not locking. Okay. And from here, this is more complex. You breathe in. Hands all the way to the top. Now elbows out. Breathe out. Hands in, breathe in. Which means all the way in and then down, out. So breathe in. And out. In. Which includes bringing the hands in and then out. So let's repeat that 3 more times. And once more. Okay. And what I'd like to do is start with the 54 tonight. We'll go through the 54 movement form and see if you have any questions. But let's start, okay? And relaxing the chest, breathing naturally, no movements, the commencement of Tai Chi. Okay. That was a 10-minute form. You don't want to get it faster than about 8 minutes or longer than about 10 in 12 minutes, but 10-minute form. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you try that on your own, and we'll check in, see if you have any questions on any of the movements or any of the sections of that form. Okay, so start with me, continue on your own. And Okay, so finish what you're on. Okay. Any questions on the 54 movements? Any of the sections or an individual movement? No? Any questions on how we covered the stanzas? Yeah. Okay. And let's go through 54 once again. Okay. Yeah. Commencement of Tai Chi. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we got about another 10-minute form. Anybody with a question about any of the movements?
Yes. Hi,
Yes.
Yarrow. Hey,
Yeah. Hi, yeah.
hey, so for shoulder width, when you're doing the different corners and just basically all the movements, it seems like shoulder width is actually kind of far apart. Like that would make it really square, right? I mean, unless it's like,
Well, if you're used to the Aikido is very much a triangle. Okay. But you know, when I go back to when I was in Japan, 1973. Okay, a couple of my friends, a lot of them aren't doing knee work anymore, sitting seizai anymore. But you know, some days you'd have like 5 classes, and I would always do a half hour or 54 movement sets before I went to bed, just to get some life force back in my legs. And you know, I do a lot of it, but I can do the deep work and I can still sit seizai. So one thing about anything, especially when you're young, you know, you're pretty young, so it's good to start cross training. And the Tai Chi, you know, is slow, it strengthens, and more than anything else, it fills your legs with quote unquote life force. And so it's a form of cross training. If you do anything, it's good, you know, if you're going to run, then you also lift, you alternate your core work with, you know, certain other types of things. Bruce Lee would have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine, then you have a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday routine. You kind of cross train. So the movements of the Tai Chi are square. Okay. And they strengthen the legs. I mean, the Aikido movements will strengthen your legs too. But anything, if you do it a lot, and that's the only thing you do, then what happens is you can, you know, wear yourself down. So by varying, by doing the Tai Chi, well, you know, the stance is different. Okay. The energy flow is pretty much the same. But Tai Chi or Tai Chi Chuan comes from the Chinese boxing. Okay. And the boxing form is primary. For example, there are weapons forms, but the weapons forms, this is a retreat step, comes off the boxing steps. This is forward. This is back. So the boxing is a structure for the weapon sets. The Aikido is almost totally different. I mean, we familiarize ourselves with the body movements, but basically Aikido comes from sword and spear. And so really what you're doing when you're doing Aikido is weapons without a weapon. And movements are, they're similar in some ways, and they're also different. The energy is the same, okay? But the Aikido is done kind of faster, and it's harder to begin to coordinate the breath with the movements. And so, you know, Tai Chi gives you more of a meditative quality as you're kind of cultivating the life force through the body. So I've always thought of it as a good complement to the Aikido. Okay. My teachers in Japan, Ano, Tojima, and Nasia senseis, they would take me off somewhere and they would show us some Tai Chi because they were interested. They didn't take it up. Ano sensei actually, when he was coming pretty regularly, he actually learned the 30 movement set. I don't know that he's practicing it anymore. Okay. But yeah, he actually learned. I have a picture of him actually doing it before somewhere. So yeah, the 30 move, the actual shoulder width is much more of a square position. Okay. Aikido kind of works, you have your triangle, and the triangle moves within the circle, and oftentimes, the finishing motion is a square motion. Tai Chi, I've talked to other teachers about it. The Tai Chi is almost like you're starting with a square, and that square, within the square structure, you are moving within a circle, and then the actual release of the energy, boom, is triangular, boom. Okay, so I'm not sure that theory holds, but that's kind of my own basic understanding of it. So doing the Tai Chi will help keep your legs strong. And it also adds a meditative quality to it. I don't know, does that answer your question at all? I know it's hard because you're probably used to the Aikido movements, but there's a reason.
Yeah, I think it's challenged my hip flexibility, and my hips have gotten a lot more flexible, but I'm still finding myself in kind of a narrow stance when I do like the four corners when you do the Fair Lady Repulse.
Oh, yeah. Well, that takes, if you're, for example, gonna, do CrossFit step. Now, that's straight. Now, there's a parallel line to that straight going through my, and I'm going to go 30 degrees past it. Okay, now I'm going to turn. Okay, now there's a line on my left foot. I'm going to rotate the hip. And there's also a shoulder width parallel line. I'm going to step 30 degrees past it. And so, you and right about here, so you have that shoulder width. And what that does do is it strengthens the legs in a way that complements the Aikido movements. And as I said, I used to practice the Tai Chi after a long day of Aikido training when I was in Japan, just to get the life force in the legs. But also there are other reasons for it. So anyway, that's a tip for me. The stance itself is an important one. So as we go along, we'll kind of work on reviewing it some more. Audrey, if you're here, I think you're here. You asked about that last week. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Sensei, sorry, I was late today and
Okay.
missed it. I'll have to watch them on.
Yeah. Well, we'll post it on. We'll post it.
So sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem. All right. One thing I was going to kind of mention is that Master Choi, with his hands, the fingers would kind of dance. Mainly, it was the ring finger and the middle finger, right? There's a feeling. And the people would copy him because they see his hands move. All right. And something I just kind of wanted to mention, something you might sort of play around with, is you pretend like you're in a field of wind chimes. And when you move, the chimes chime. So there's that little tinkle, 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 and that's one way of kind of looking at why he might have been doing it. Now, what happens is it's a little bit like minds get very active and tired and stressed, but the sound of raindrops on the rooftop can be kind of soothing, or the wind chimes. And you'll be thinking about the movements, but sometimes that can cause stress. You have to pattern of movements properly. The form itself is important that way. If you don't have a form, you have very little to practice. But right here, I'm in a field of wind chimes. All the movements create that sort of the chimes are chiming. And what that does for me, it sort of explains, the Master Choi's hands. The fingers are like wind chimes, and the movement is activating the chimes. And the other thing that happens is there's no physical sound, but there's kind of energetic sound. And that keeps the mind, that can quiet the mind and relax the mind. More difficult than relaxing the body is achieving a relaxed state of mind. Master Choi, you say you must relax completely. I'm thinking about the form, that's important. But at a certain point, see the hands moving through that field of chimes. And again, it's more energetic sound, there's no actual sound going on. Okay? Anyway, we have enough time. Let's go through the 30 movements once. Okay? So let's do that together. And a commencement. And as you're doing that, just sort of feel you are in a field of wind chimes. So every movement activates the chimes to chime, and that's a soothing quality. Now here we're going to go into just under elbow. So every movement activates the wind chimes. Okay. Anyway, so we kind of majored a little bit in the steps. We will post this so you can kind of review the stances. We should do more to do that. That was, yeah, about a 5-minute form. Okay, so anybody with a question or anything before we break? I'll be, as far as, I'll be here next week, so yeah, we'll start at 7:30. Anybody? Okay, all right, so thank you all.